Over the last few years, e-dating has become a lot more common and is now socially acceptable. You used to be embarrassed to admit that you were e-dating someone that lived across the country or across the world. You both knew you would probably never meet in real life and it was just temporary, only to keep each other happy and distracted, so you could forget about how lonely and miserable you really are. The difference between e-dating and long-distance dating is in long-distance relationships, you will actually meet up with the other person every now and then, but 99% of e-daters will never meet. It'll always stay online, no matter how many times they talk about meeting each other and make fantasy plans about what they'll do. Another reason that e-dating has become so normalized over the last few years is because there didn't used to be that many terminally online girls in the first place. Girls were just on Instagram or Snapchat. They weren't really on Discord or even Twitter. This all changed in 2020. After COVID happened, a lot of normies who typically wouldn't be online for 8 hours a day now had no choice since they didn't have school or work, and most places were closed. Before 2020, if you were e-dating a girl, it was probably another guy who was catfishing or LARPing as a girl, or it was a femboy. Anyway, now e-dating is everywhere, and people of all ages now do it. But the sad reality is, none of them know how to. They're completely useless and have no idea what to say and how to be interesting or engaging. Most people are just boring to talk to. They have nothing going on in their lives. They don't do anything. They've never had a unique or original thought in their lives. And then they're surprised they get cheated on or ghosted and ignored. You could replace most people with ChatGPT, and you wouldn't really notice a difference. So first, let's talk about getting an e-date. First of all, you should avoid e-girls since they're probably going to ignore your message to begin with. And even if you somehow do manage to get with one of them, she's probably just using you and talking to 50 other guys who are doing the exact same thing you're doing, buying her stuff, sending her money, and so on. E-girls are girls who have large followings because they post explicit pictures of themselves online, or they cosplay, or they're a streamer. If you ever look at any of these accounts and read the comments, you'll see the most pathetic people on the planet. They have negative IQ, and they'll never have any of their comments read, much less replied to. Do not bother with e-girls. Most of them edit their pictures anyway, and they angle max and use filters and snow app to make themselves look like entirely different people. Even worse than e-girls are comm girls, who you should also never e-date. Most guys think they want a clingy, obsessive girlfriend who will beg for their attention, but that's only because those guys are super lonely virgins, and they've never had any female interaction. So to make yourself look interesting, you, of course, need your profile to look mysterious. Whether it's Discord, Twitter, or Steam, your profile needs to look simple but not boring. You should have a lowercase alias that's no longer than 7 letters, and your avatar should be something cool but not edgy. Anime usually works, but only a specific kind. There's a lot of anime avatars out there that look awful and just scream that you're a third worlder. You can't have Naruto or Goku or One Piece avatars. It needs to be an anime illustration, which means it can't be a screenshot, but actual art made by an artist. Don't use those black and white pictures either. They look terrible and no one will take you seriously. To be honest, you should only use anime girl pictures, because anime boy pictures just look gay. Next is your status. You need to pretend you're a very busy person. If you're available 24/7, it gives girls the ick, and they'll see you as annoying. You can't be around constantly. So to answer the age-old question, what's the best status on Discord that you should use? The answer is obviously do not disturb. Online just makes you seem needy, like you're begging for someone to message you. Hi guys, I'm here, please notice me. Idle makes you look like an indecisive, goofy loser, since you want to appear like you're not at your computer for some reason, instead of just being online and letting it go idle automatically. Then we have invisible, and this is the biggest red flag. Invisible says you're not only chronically online, but you ignore people all the time and pick and choose who to reply to and when. Invisible screams that you're insecure and probably a dickhead that's cheating and ignoring people. Do not disturb is clearly the best one, since you're online when you can be, but you're also not begging for interaction. Red is also associated with confidence, and it's why the red shirt method exists. So we've all heard the saying, don't reply right away. Wait a while before replying, otherwise you seem desperate. Well, that's only partially true. If a girl messages you first, don't wait 30 minutes to reply if you're there. Just reply right away. This shows that you don't want to play those silly waiting games and you're secure enough that you don't care if you're seen as needy. But as the conversation progresses, you should slowly start spreading out your responses. If you reply within seconds every single time, then the convo will dry out quickly, and you'll probably run out of things to say, and then you'll be seen as boring, since there's nothing to talk about anymore. It's actually pretty easy to make a girl fall in love with you, and that's because most guys are dumb and suck at messaging. If you just ask them questions and pretend to actually give a shit when they're venting about their feelings or their problems, you're already doing better than most people. Most girls love talking about how sad they feel because their dad was never around, and then the guy will say, "Damn, that sucks." Girls also like when you agree with them and validate their feelings. But don't be a complete pushover and tell them when they're being dumb and unreasonable. I could go on, but at this point, that's leaning closer towards real relationships rather than online. Now, the most important one, ERP. Most people suck at ERPing, and that's because they go from 0 to 100. You can't just jump right in. You need foreplay, you need to be detailed, and you need to go slowly. You're basically writing a book. You need to paint a picture and imagine it and then progress from there. You need to tease, be playful, and consider what the other person wants. Since guys can finish much quicker than girls, this results in guys basically ERPing themselves and girls pretending to be horny and play along. But they're as dry as the desert and doing other things while the guy sends the worst lines ever. If you're going to play games with your e-date, then you need to make sure you're good at those games, or at least better than her. Girls don't like if the guy they're dating is worse than them in anything, including video games. Luckily, guys are usually better at games and most things, so this shouldn't be an issue. If you ever break up with your e-date, which you probably will, make sure to go back and delete all your messages if you are on Discord. Having an ex e-date is like talking to the police. Anything you say can and will be used against you. This is why it's probably a good idea to talk to them on Telegram or Signal. The problem with both Signal and Telegram is that only wannabe comm kids use those, so you'll be cringe by association. If you're ever talking to a girl and she already uses either, then wrap it up and go next.